60% of Hydro One. How do you see it?
I'm glad you didn't ask the bauble question. I do
It's
think
coming.
I'm getting a lot of mail personally on Hydro One. I think people who watch your show, people who are politically engaged, are very concerned about it. I agree with Ashley that it's not. Most people don't know what Hydro One is if they live in Toronto, Ottawa, or the big cities. If they don't pay their bills to Hydro One, people who do pay their bills to Hydro One hate it and have been complaining to Andre Morin, the ombudsman, about getting ripped off on their bills because they provide crappy retail or customer service. So
I think it's the number one thing that he gets complaints about.
So there's
Hydro One.
not a huge "we love Hydro One" lobby in this province, but from a public policy perspective, outside of the politics, public policy, I'm concerned about it. I'm not crazy about this idea of giving up part of our publicly owned electrical utility, but I don't think it's a crazy idea, and I don't think that people who are proposing it, that guy from TD Bank, Ed Clark, and Francis Lankin, a longtime New Democrat, I don't think they're crazy. They're not flakes. So I think there are some interesting ideas here. I think the way they've crafted the deal at 60%, but they'll be the biggest shareholder at 40 and nobody else can have 10 percentage points. They're getting rid of the politically appointed chair, Sandra Pupatello, and bringing in the guy who used to run the CPP investment board, David Dennison. So it's an interesting, the way they've structured it is very interesting. The idea,
I'm interrupting you here because we got 2 minutes left, and I do want to spend 2 minutes on the shiny bauble.
Yes.
We're really going to have a beer ombudsman?
Would you like to be?
What the hell's a beer ombudsman?
Yeah, well, I can tell you
Or will he be called the sudsbudsman?
I can tell you from my own email inbox, there are a lot of complainers about beer in this province. A lot of people are not happy about everything about beer and wine, and it's not easy to appease everybody either. So I would not recommend that job to anybody, first of all. But on the bauble generally, I think it's an interesting bauble. I think no one's happy with it, and so my assessment is the glass half full or half empty. And what I would say, because a lot of people are shooting this down and saying this is nothing, come on, this is zero, this is a fraud. Governments don't turn the ship of state overnight, and no one else has done this. Mike Harris didn't bust the beer store up, and David Peterson didn't either. So a little bit of credit to the government for at least engaging on this issue, because Tim Hudak said he would, and then he said he wouldn't, and Andrew Horvath said it was a non-issue. So they're going somewhere. 450 supermarkets in due course. That's interesting. That's what I would say.
Leslie, how interesting do you